One's in the chat. One's in the chat. One. Come on, come on, come on. One. Put a one.
All the ones.
Hey, John. Hey, Slim. Oh, here we go. Look at all this. Great to see you all. Genuinely.
Especially those tuning in on Twitch. What's up?
Hey,
Welcome.
Jamie. Everyone watching on the YouTube replay as well are trying to be everywhere with this. We believe that DJs don't talk about music enough. We are getting so bombarded with more music than ever, and yet we're not talking about music enough. This is a Crate Hackathon. It doesn't require any coding. You don't have to learn HTML or JavaScript. This is not one of those kind of hackathons. This is simply DJs talking about music, and it's really become something that is a part of the workflow for many DJs out there. We enjoy discussing certain trends, certain genres. This is a perfect time too for a DJ really to think about their crates, because we're in that pocket of downtime for a lot of us. Maybe one of the last events many of us have done was the New Year's Eve gig, and you're in that coasting period between now and March. Maybe it's time to reassess and think about these crates. I'm going to bring in some of the brightest minds I know. And if you don't mind, we like to kick off our hackathon with a little Aaron story time. Is it okay? Can I get a one in the chat if you're down for Aaron story time? Because it's been a minute since I've had a chance to tell a story. As you know, Crate Hackers would have never existed without my immense passion for radio. Radio was such a beacon for a long time, and I felt that programmers really knew how to make a radio station good if they wanted to. That's why it was fun to watch the ratings. You probably had a KISS FM, right? If you tuned to your FM dial, you might even still today have a KISS FM format. I was that kid who would watch what station was number one. Oh, this is the number one station in, I don't know, Boise, Idaho, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to ask you in the chat. I would love to see, what was your favorite radio station frequency? Do you remember the name of the station? Did you have a KISS FM? Maybe a Ryan Seacrest? Maybe a Light Rock FM? What was it? KISS 109, Fly 92.3, Hot 90. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Brandon Ragoza. Hot 93.7, 101.9, WBLZ. There you go. Call letters. Give me some call letters.
KMEL.
DJ Gem, what was your favorite radio station back in the day?
And I can't even remember it. I remember it was 1019.
1019 was like top 40 or hip hop or yeah?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
J Dowd, what was your favorite radio station back in the day?
We had Jam in 94.5 over here.
Yeah. So that was me watching what stations were hot in certain markets. And I had the pleasure of working in radio as an intern for a long time. And one of the benefits of working, I don't know if I can show this. Maybe I can. A website you probably aren't allowed to have, but there's a story that goes behind it. newmusicserver.com. Let me show it really quick here to pull up on. I guarantee I don't have a password for it anymore, because I have to be in radio again. I ditched radio to work full-time for Crate Hackers, right? And this is like the most amazing record pool of all time. People ask, what's the best record pool to have? I see that question a lot in the chat. Like, is it DMS? Is it late night record pool? Is it promo only? No, the answer is New Music Server. Straight up. What was that?
You'd like me to log in?
Maybe later. Yeah, let's log in and let him see it. But you would agree that if you had like any access to this, you're pretty damn lucky. Am I right, Mike?
It's for programmers, it's for mix show guys, it's for the music directors. And what's nice too is, especially like for radio, you have to have the clean version, but the radio clean version, this has all of that too. Private events, that helps out a lot.
There's a great segue, Mike, because this is all coming full circle. I would log into this and I would pull down the radio edits, but there would be these times where I'd see the Mike D remix. I could go on for days. You put a flair on remixes that became kind of a staple for radio FM stations. The best way to describe DJ Mike D, from my experience, was whenever radio programmers would need a song that needed a kick drum, needed a better bass boost, needed a remix, but a faithful remix. A great example would be Adele, okay? Adele back in the day had super dreamy, sad, slow tempo songs, right? Programmers would call upon Mike D to say, hey, can you kick this thing up a notch? Or can you double time that beat? So every time I would go to newmusicserver.com, I would search DJ Mike D, because they were always coming to him for what I think were some of the official remixes of these artists. During the night show, you can play him at night. You can play him on the mix show. He brought an edge to the night shows. If anybody can maybe put a one in the chat right now for the influence this man has had, it's time to show some love for our guest tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for DJ Mike D on the Crate Hackers Hackathon. What up?
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Where are you checking in from?
I am currently in Redlands, California. with the person making this possible. I was just in Denver. I'm originally from Hawaii. I'm based out of Cleveland now, but I'm all over the place just with my job, which is I'm a broadcast engineer. So we do tower work, we do transmitter work, we do the back end of like TV and radio stations as far as keeping all that going, the IT stuff and all that. Yeah, that's what I do now. But I'm first and foremost a DJ, and I will always have that in me. Since I remember being a little kid, you asked what radio stations, and for me, it was in the St. John voice, KIKI FM, I-94. That was my radio station growing up. So to that whole point, that's where I first heard a mix show. I was like, what is going on? This is fantastic. They're
Right.
like taking these records and there's these cool versions and blah, 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 blah. And that's what got me interested in everything.
That's what happened. That's where it started. Were you always fascinated with radio, and then you thought, wow, I could really make this DJ mix show something else with my own edits? Where did that start?
I remember being 14 or 15, and it's software that's not even around anymore. It was called Multiquence and Cool Edit, which is now able to,
Sure.
and it was just one of those things. I would take, what was one of the first things I did? I took Afro Rican's Give It All You Got, and I mixed it with Prince's Erotic City and just blended the two together and stuff like that. And just, it was from that I found that I really like hearing these mixes that the radio DJs would play, that I could possibly do something like that.
Wow. And boy, did you ever. You were cranking out how many at your peak? What was the most amount of edits you were doing at some point?
I remember one year I did, it was like 200 something. It was a lot.
Still doing it, but you're also juggling keeping these towers on the mountain.
It's half IT, it's half tower work. The other thing too is I do editing on the back end for like record labels. Hey, we need a clean edit of this. I do
Right.
that kind of thing. There's no credit in that, but it's something I do on the side.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I think a lot of us, I'm going to speak on behalf of a lot of the people on tonight. So many people, by the way. Hello. Welcome to the hackathon. Glad you're here. In the chat, get ready for some questions. Fire away with any questions you may have. We'll save those for the Q&A at the back end of this. But let me give you a quick idea of the format. If this is your first time joining us at a hackathon, first off, welcome. Let's start hacking. Go to this second tab. Open up a second tab right now. Just make sure you're dual monitoring it as hackers do. Crateoftheweek.com. Crateoftheweek.com. Unlock with 2 song choices to view the crate. So you'll see what we're talking about. We're going to go ahead and crack open a crate with the most, I would say, trending songs for 2024. We've cooked up a really cool crate that I want Mike D to look at and maybe add or change or delete altogether. But tonight's format is open format. And I think we'll come back full circle. And a lot of us would like to see your production angle, how you make some of these edits, and maybe we'll do that towards the back end. But let's switch gears and talk about the state of open format in 2024. Talk to me about your thoughts. Explain to a DJ what open format is in your opinion, and where we're at this year with it.
Open format has always meant to me playing, especially in a nightclub environment, being able to play everything and anything and make work. Now, a big part of that depends on your crowd. You can't go into, say, house club and expect to play Spice Girls and call it open format. That it would be, that's not what you would do. Open format, I would say, in this day and age, is a lot of nightclubs, especially since house venues, they're more festival oriented. Like in Cleveland, there's an outdoor venue and they only bring in house acts, where there's other nightclubs, and that's more where the open format kicks in. Now, there's nightclubs all over that play house, there's nightclubs all over that play hip hop. Open format to me is if I'm playing Fetty Wap, I can play Beyonce, and then I can play Natasha Bedingfield, if it makes sense.
Mhm.
The state of it right now, I feel it's weird. I feel the best spots with the best crowd. And what I mean by best crowd is the people who are having the most fun. It's like playing in 2010 all over again. A lot of, I would say, especially the hip hop right now, it's in such a depressed state. Like, you have Just Wanna Rock, Uzi Vert, and that kind of stuff, which is fun. The new Nicki Minaj, that's kind of fun.
Right.
But I would say a lot of it has that kind of 2014, 15 kind of Migos feel, and it's been there for a long time. We don't really have, other than the occasional Tyga record, we don't really have the 98 BPM, 102 BPM kind of records like we had. And I've noticed, especially playing open format, I'll be dropping Starships and like it works, or Pitbull's Hotel Room. In an open format club, the older records are working a lot better because they have that energy and that fun.
Does that scare you that we are having to rely on the older music to where we just may be sanctioned off into that decade forever? I think to myself, not a lot of DJs today are experimental enough to break new music like they used to. We're having to rely on the older hits. Does that pigeonhole us? Does that put us into a cliche, or are we ever going to break out of the 2010s and progress? What are your thoughts?
I think it's, so let's say even in 2005, when like I was first starting, I would be playing Michael Jackson, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, or let's say like 2008. But I would go from Michael Jackson to like at the time, the new, what was her name? American Boy.
Estelle.
You could bridge that. I think the thing now is, excuse me, finding the newer songs that work with what you're doing and incorporate, instead of saying, oh, I'm stuck in this decade, I'm going to continue to add on top of it. Say out of, play Just Wanna Rock, and then you play Rumble with, what was his name? Skrillex, Killers in the Jungle, right? The Killers in the Jungle, Killers in the Killers in the Killers in the, and you drop Killers coming out of my head that are doing just fine because it works.
Right.
But,
right.
And that's the open format essence of it, whereas, and keeping modern with it. I don't think open format really has an age on it. I think that depends on your crowd. I do think open format incorporates, let's be honest, we were all playing ABBA Gimme like what, 6 months ago?
That was so huge in 2023. Where did that even come from? Suddenly we're playing that song 30 years later.
Yeah, Zem says, I do believe open format is timeless because
Timeless, okay.
open format can pull anything and make it work. It's about being able to read the crowd. And I think that's a big part of open format that isn't talked about, is the ability to read the crowd.
What is, speaking of the crowd, a song lately that you've noticed is getting a reaction? Is there something new that we can maybe throw into that 2010s crate?
So it's not I'm not the biggest fan of it, but the Jack Harlow song,
Lovin' on Me,
which is samples a 90, I think it was like a 94 hip hop song. The new Nicki Minaj does well because it plays with all that Jersey Club kind of vibe going on.
Yep. Putting you on the spot, but those are good answers. Yeah, no, I think Lovin' on Me is without a doubt one of the biggest, most talked about, most played track in the past 2 months at least. But that's what's exciting about the crateoftheweek.com. If you all head over to this tab really quick, and in fact, let's go ahead and give people a peek as to what's going on over here so we can start hacking. Crateoftheweek.com. I'm going to head over to Chrome really quick and show you what I see and what you'll see when you head over to this crate. It swaps out every week. If you're watching the YouTube replay, thanks for watching, but this rotates every week. We do it every Tuesday, but this is your chance to contribute. I want you to collaborate and add to the crate with the hackathon each and every week. And the way we do this is we take 2 song choices, just like Mike D did a minute ago. He said Rumble, right? Let's go and pull that up. I'm going to add that. And then he said Just Wanna Rock. I encourage you all to do the same. It'll become something we can all count on. So Mike suggested these 2 songs, and once you do that, you simply click your way through the locked crate, and we'll do that right now. All right, little backstory before we scroll further down on this chart here, Mike. What I did was I took the most popular songs, some pop, rap, and EDM, a big data set of the most popular songs in 2023. And so as we scroll down this crate, you're going to start to see big tracks like Lovin' on Me from Jack Harlow, Tate McRae, Greedy, Kenya Grace, Stranger. These are all new songs I would think we should consider to maybe add to a crate. We'll get more into this in just a little bit, but this will give you a peek right now. If you want to get ahead of it, go to crateoftheweek.com. And then what I'd like to do towards the back end of the hackathon is just have Mike give us his gut instinct feeling as I go through the songs. And then to your benefit, you can suggest songs and vote them up on the leaderboard. If you look on the right-hand side of the screen right now, you've got your leaderboard. This is where hacking really comes in play, because those 2 songs you suggested just to even view this crate goes into what we're trying to build today. So you're starting to see the activity here on the screen. I want you all to really interact at crateoftheweek.com. And we talked a little bit about the state of open format, and I want to circle back on radio, mix shows. You had a mix show for a while. You were enamored by mix shows, even at the age of 15 or 16. Let's talk about people who maybe are even interested in thinking about doing their own radio mix show. How would even one start?
So how I got into it was in Hawaii, there was people named James Coles, Cool E, Cutmaster Spaz. They were like the K-Smooth. They were like the big radio guys. And before the advent of internet and all that, how you got in the radio club was you proved yourselves in the nightclubs. And but that whole thing is gone by the wayside. I would say to anyone who really wants to get on the radio, what you need to do is you need to understand how radio programming works, because radio programming isn't just, oh, I like these 10 songs, I'm going to put them in a mix. You have categories, and part of those categories, you have your powers or your A's, you have your subpowers or your B's, you have your C's, which are like they're doing okay, you have recurrents, which are like timeless songs, say like Hypnotize or something like that. You have your new songs, which are songs you're trying out, and then you have your like evergreen, which would be songs that have worked for the station no matter what. And part of that is honestly listening to the radio and kind of seeing what songs play after each other. And especially for a mix show, you want to play hit songs, but you also want to play them in an order that complements the radio's format. And so say you're playing a top 40 station, you wouldn't necessarily play Sheck West, where you would say play Just Wanna Rock as possibly a new or something like that they're trying out because of the popularity, not necessarily like where Mo Bamba is, say, a hip hop song that, yes, it did well at hip hop, but it didn't necessarily do well at the pop side.
Let me give them a visual because I don't want them to miss this. I pulled up on Google that best explains what he was just talking about. And this really does help with an open format crate, in my opinion. I believe there's a secret sauce in the way radio programmers think about putting things on the air. There is a mathematical equation to it, and he alluded to that, but this can also help with an open format crate for DJs. So keep your mind open and look at the screen. This is a generic radio hour clock. It's a clock that starts at the top of the hour. In this particular example, you have network news, and then you got your commercial break. Then you got your show segments, then you got a network break. So these show segments would be sweeps of music, right? If you tune into your top of the hour, in most stations, you get those ABC network station, the dun, 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 news report for the first 2 minutes. Then you go commercials. And then here is where that secret rhythm comes into play. You take a banging song coming out of this commercial break. What song is going to hook them the moment they come out of that long stretch of commercials? Don't you hate it, by the way, when those commercials interrupt a good flow? That's what keeps us on the air, unfortunately, but it's our job to make sure that you stick around for this 20-minute stretch. That's like a 20-minute dance floor if you think about it. 20 minutes on the air equates to 20 minutes on the dance floor, in my opinion. So you have to think not just about what song to play next, but what 5 songs to play next. Again, let's talk about golds and recurrents. You say that the A's, B's, and C's, you rotate those. Mike, elaborate just a little bit more on that.
So like an A would be like the hottest song. So generally a good rotation would be like an A, C, B, A, recurrent, where you have a hit song, a really big song every 3. And that's especially now what a lot of programmers want to see. And kind of to go even further on what actually, like how you actually get into radio, anyone can do a mix. You, me, anybody in the chat can do one mix. What radio people need to see is that you're able to do a mix every single week, every single day, however often the mix show is. Because if you just submit one mix, hey, it's the greatest mix in the world. Who cares? Because you're not there the next week. And radio is a consistent thing every week. And that's what a lot of people want to see.
How much freedom did you have with your mix shows? Or did you have an iron hammer saying this was your list of music to play, go mix it, come back to us, or what?
It depended on the market. I would say probably the strictest market was Sacramento. They were pretty much, these are the songs you can play. If you want to play anything else, you need to run it by us. Whereas Jazzy Jim, Power 104.3 in Hawaii, like I had a bit more freedom. Granted, I wasn't going to play Frank Sinatra or anything, but I had the freedom to like, hey, this song's kind of cool. Let's try it out, that kind of thing.
Let's connect the dots. This is great, by the way. I'm soaking it in, man. If you're enjoying yourself in the chat, by the way, throw a 1 because we got Mike D in the house for the next 30 minutes. We're going to continue to hack with him. Listen, mix shows, open format, there's a correlation, in my opinion, to stay as variety driven as possible to keep them to listen longer. You a Serato guy? How do you prep your crates before we build one for these guys? Where would you start? Serato or iTunes? How does it begin?
It depends on where I'm playing. It really does. If I'm playing somewhere that's, open format, but say leans hip hop, that's what I'll think. If I'm playing somewhere that, hey, it's open format, they like a lot of oldies, that kind of thing. It really depends what the expectation of the event is going to be.
Finding out what songs work for that night. And then you're building just a crate in Serato and just dumping songs in as you scroll through. What's your collection look like? How many songs do you have in your library to begin with?
So I'm one of those people that has way too many songs in their collection. I probably have 120,000 files.
I give any producer, by the way, any remixer and editor a free pass to have as many songs as they need because you need them. But
it's bad because I'll type in say drop it like it's hot, and I have between acapellas, dirty versions, clean versions, the different versions people made, intro, outro, I probably have 20 versions of drop it like it's hot in my Serato. And it's in the throughout the different folders, and it's in the general field. But when it comes to building a crate, if I know where I'm playing and there's the expectation of, hey, they want more remix house edits and that kind of stuff, and they want high energy, I will absolutely go through what I have. And here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest thing I've learned as DJing. You can find the best song, and that's great. I think the biggest part where people are like, oh my God, is when you find that B-side that people forgot about. Perfect example would be, say you're doing a throwback night, and it's, oh, TLC, Waterfalls, or No Scrubs. To me, those are everyone knows that. But hey, you play Kick Your Game, and you're instantly thrown back to that time in a throwback era where it's like, oh shit, I have not heard this in ages. Sorry for the swearing.
Keep them on their toes. You're right. That's it. You can stick with the hits, but after a while, it just blends in the background. But if you're not shocking them every so often with something unfamiliar, but educated, I think that's the point. Was that an educated guess? And was there a reason why you did that? Yeah, that's a good advice. All right. Crateoftheweek.com. Everyone head over there really quick. We're about to open this crate. He's going to help us build this crate, and you're going to have it at the end of the week. That's the way hackathons work. Every time we wrap up these hackathons, a crate is there for you to have. And who better than to build it with us than Mike D. I really want to see, before we get into the crate.
Well, wait, can I ask a Twitch question? What size hard drive do you have for all those?
Between all my hard drives, oops, am I muted?
No, you're fine.
Between all my hard drives, about 50 terabytes in just drives lying around. It's very bad.
Holy moly. But that makes sense because you're also in radio. So you have full libraries of what radio stations would have, which are above average for most DJs.
It's not only that, I save every single project file that's ever been sent to me. So for example, Ciara, like the Ciara files back in the day, they were like 8 gigs, just the Pro Tools files. So I save everything, and then I have a backup of everything. And
50 terabytes. There's this thing called Crate Hackers that helps you organize your music, by the way. Just throwing that out there. I want to see your workflow. Can you share your screen with us? I think a lot of people would like to see what goes into this. Pretend like you're going through an edit. What do you have on your workstation right now? Can I see?
I had something up that I've done, but we can do something from scratch.
Yes, please. Would anybody care for that? Let's go. Yes. Okay. Mike D's going to walk us through. What is this we're seeing right now? Is this
So this is just blank Ableton.
Ableton. Okay. All right.
For the song, Teddy Swims, Lose Control. It's a brand new song, right? It's starting to chart, and someone's, hey, you should do this. Probably can get it bought. We're going to go through this real quick. I have a new computer, so like the keys are a little bit different. Excuse me, space different. So pardon me if I fat finger it. This is what we're going to do. We're going to warp this. So we're going to set the 1, right click, set 1, 1. And then we're going to...
Something's got a hold on me lately. No, I don't know myself.
So right here, that seemed like the next bar. So that lines up.
Feels like the walls...
We're going to come here, because the thing is, I like to go through it and kind of just get it all. I don't know if this was played live, so we're going to find out as we go. No, this was done.
This is kind of like beat gridding in a way.
It's exactly what I'm doing. So take this, and it's about 106 because it has that swing on it. So let's put it, what did it have? 106.67, 6.67. But if you listen, it's a waltz. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 versus the usual 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So we have to compensate for that. So I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to, sorry, this thing is in the way. I'm going to triplet grid. Come on. So now, and I'm going to set this to medium. So now it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You guys see the division? So it's 1, 2, 3.
Something's got a hold on me lately. No, I...
So
yeah. What's the BPM of this?
This is 106.67.
Okay.
So what's weird is people are doing weird tempos on everything now. Let's say I want to latch, okay? House it up a bit. So let's put it at 120, and then I'm going to find some simple house drums. So fine. Where am I looking? No. This is honestly the longest process, is finding the sound I like.
Wow.
So it's just finding what you want.
Yeah, but there's always been a distinct Mike D sound. You know what I mean? There's a chunkiness, like a chunk. You add some thump to anything. It's crazy.
So that's part of, if we're going to do that, we're going to come here, and this Lex drum pack's actually really nice. We're going to find a kick. So I'm going to find that. Let's say I want to take this and just beef it up. Do that, and then I'll do a hat. Actually, I should probably do this. Sorry. This is the ADD Mike way of doing things. So
this is so cool.
So I'm going to take that, shift tab, so I can go here, drop this here. Come on. Why are you not loading? There we go. Oh, come on. Control M. No, that's not what I want. The zoom is doing something weird to my.
It looks good. I see everything on your screen right now.
No, but zoom's doing something weird to my. Whatever. Let's just do this. Okay, so I'll do this. Control J, and then because C is the root note, so I'm gonna do. I don't want it that fast, but you guys understand. Take this and do a meh, meh, meh. Let's set this as a. Where's the loop? Set this as a loop.
Something's got a hold on me lately.
Hi-hat, yeah, okay.
And then from here, I can go to here because I don't like the hi-hat, just tick, tick, tick. Come here and go to its pan and effect. Where is it? Modulation and go auto pan. But instead of panning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the pan with no phase to it. And then I'm going to do this, set it to a time, set it to 1/3. Where's invert? Invert it. So now,
Something's
that's a little bit too fast.
Something's got a hold on me lately.
So I can't, how do I move you guys? There we go. So it like, it comes in and out. It flutters a bit.
Wow. Hey.
Feels like the walls are all closing.
And then what I can do from here is, if I want, add another track, take this, do that, and then set a different sound. We're not going to do all that right now. Sorry, I know we're on limited time. I actually don't mind doing this for longer than expected because
This is amazing. I mean, who's not enjoying this? Come on, let's go.
No one's complaining on time. You're good.
Man, this is amazing. I've always wanted to tap into this guy's brain.
there's two ways of doing sound. You can either do it MIDI or you can just lay it out. Depending on what you're doing. This is honestly easier sometimes. Bang. Oops.
How many times did I tell you?
And the trick is when you have something like this, right? When you have a track and you really want this kick to shine through, the trick is you sidechain it. So what you do is you come to audio effects and you go to dynamics, you get a compressor, you drop it on here. Now it's going to come up here. You click this little button right here. This allows you to sidechain. You take the input from the kick, and then you're gonna because if I don't have the sidechain on, it's just gonna show down here the track. But if I add the sidechain on, this gray waveform is going to change. If I really drop it like this and I set the attack real hard like this, is gonna. So a sidechain, what essentially it does is it takes an outside source, and in this case, this is the kick, and uses the compressor on, takes the compressor information from the kick and applies it to the track it's on. If I do this and I loosen up the threshold, whereas if I don't have this on, that's off, this is on. Because sound only has so much space, so when you use a sidechain, you're making room for the kick by basically dropping the volume when that kick hits. And we can get into multiband compression and sidechaining, and we can get into space and dynamics and mid-side and all that kind of stuff. There's a whole thing. I do not mind doing that because that's actually where...
This almost deserves a deeper dive at some point this season. I'd love to bring you back and just even sesh out like this, because what you're starting to hear are the inner beginnings of the distinct Mike D sound. This is the sound that we needed in radio because sometimes those songs were just too slow to really go anywhere. So they'd call upon this guy. Wow. Who enjoyed that? How cool. Listen, let's switch gears really quick and move back into open format. We're going to go ahead and serve this up as early as next week for you, but could I entice you with some new songs perhaps to maybe add to this crate? I want to get your opinion, Mike, on some of the newer tracks that we should consider adding in 2024. Are you down for that?
Yes.
Let's go with this, and then we'll get ready for a Q&A. It's our cratehackathon.com. Crateoftheweek.com is also going to get you portaled in over here to the very loose, very messy, not 50 terabytes, but it's a pretty disorganized mess of music that we have available for you to help us organize. This by no means is a finished crate. This is not in any performance order, but it will be once we're finished. Mike, speak on some of the songs you're seeing that maybe DJs should add in 2024. I'm just scrolling down just to get some thought starters for you, but anything you're seeing so far we should.
If you're playing reggaeton, Mike Towers, Paint the Town Red's one of those funny songs because girls love that song, but it's hard to get people to dance to. I would just keep an eye out, like an ear out to something saying maybe someone did a version that has a little bit more beef to it, something you like, where it gives a bit more to the crowd. FTCU, the Nicki Minaj record, I saw that for a second. Dance the Night, if you're playing like a real poppy kind of spot, like especially say if you're doing like a restaurant, and you gotta watch on that kind of stuff. Same with Houdini.
I'm not sure if thoughts on Houdini, the new Dua Lipa. Is anybody playing that? Is there a remix anybody would recommend? Dua Lipa, Houdini, yay or nay? I'm asking the chat. Just curious. What else?
Calm Down's another one. That Piggy Goo record, that's a good record, but it has to be for the right crowd.
It is smashing streaming numbers left and right, but I've yet to find the opportunity to play this at the right moment and right place.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the crowd has to know that record, otherwise it just does not go over.
Agreed.
Lil Boo thing that blew up from TikTok and all that kind of stuff, Instagram. Honestly, I think I'm still actually playing the other David Guetta. I don't think Baby Don't Hurt Me worked as well for me as the Blue remake.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. It felt like a part two almost, but just didn't feel.
I wasn't the biggest fan of the rap either. I think it's good without it, but
Yeah.
that's me. Some of these still playing.
Very pop, a lot of pop. Very, yeah. I'm going off of the 80% popularity score right now, just so you know. I shaved off the top, and this is like the 80% in pop, EDM, and rap, just so you see.
When We Were Young is okay. It's another remake. But You Proof, you got people that are remotely country. That You Proof record will absolutely work.
Yep. Yep. Fred Again, I'd recommend. Again, time and place for it, but Fred Again is having a huge year. Yeah. That's about it. Any other? This is one I'd recommend too. Have you heard this latest one from Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike?
One that's not on here because I don't know how it's working is that Everybody record.
By who? I'm trying to remember.
The one who samples Backstreet Boys. That's been working for me.
There we go. There we go. Over to your right, by the way. We're getting our leaderboard, and these are the songs that we're getting suggested. People unlocking the crate in order to view it. And so far right now in number one, it's Jermaine McKinnon with his suggestion of Jack Harlow, Lovin' on Me. Faruko with Peppa's with 7 likes from Sam Peak. DJ Jim, go ahead.
Are we just trying to do new music on this crate, or?
That's what I'm thinking is if I were to book you for, let's say, a pop wide open, this might be some songs to add to the mix. We try to keep it as loose as we possibly can with our crates, but we're just going with the trends for now. And your opinion, of course. Yeah. Start hacking. Disorganized mess, but we need your help. Last minute thoughts on how to even perform open format. Any tips for the DJs? People look up to you in a big way. Thoughts before we take any questions?
The biggest thing I learned about open form is it's okay to have fun, but especially depending on the crowd, try not to cheese it up too much because there becomes a point where it just gets too cheesy, where it almost feels unhealthy in a way. I don't know how to describe it. If you're we're all DJs and we all want to do the best thing we can. I'm not talking like a wedding. I'm not talking that kind of thing. I'm talking in a nightclub. There's times where I'll hear just some of the, like just a corny song and I understand, but it's low hanging fruit. I like to think that we as DJs are still trendsetters in a lot of ways and we don't have to take the fart joke. We can step up and be better for not only ourselves, but better for everyone. So it's, oh man, did you hear that? They like busted out some, whereas, what's a good example? Sorry.
This is beautiful. It's a good point.
Line dances in a nightclub. I've heard line dances in 2023. We should not be playing the wobble. That song's 10 years old. I understand if you're in a specific type of place, but I'm talking open format club. You will not catch me playing a line dance.
We're relying too much on the staples, the Party in the USAs, the Septembers, the cha-cha slides. Yeah, that's why I was saying that if we pigeonhole ourselves too much and put ourselves too much in that corner, we'll be too afraid to break anything new.
Yeah, guys, be brave. Try something that no one else has tried. Everyone's played Mr. Brightside. Try, what's that other one? What's that? Somebody told me that somebody had told me. Try something else. But if that doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't be brave, but be smart about it, I guess is the best way I know how to put it.
Radio, come join us again, my friend. I learned so much tonight, and I'm going to take a step back because I asked so many questions, and I have a lot to process. We have a crate to build for our audience, but a lot of people hanging out in the chat. I will say this.
So much.
Mike, if you're down for this, stay as long as you'd like to for the Q&A. I'm sure people have or will soon get their hands raised on Zoom so they can chat with you. Would you mind sticking around for a Q&A?
I'm enjoying this very much.
Radio, go ahead, man.
For sure, for sure. Now, I did put in the chat quick directions if you have not asked a question in Zoom before. And folks who there on Twitch, if you want really the best experience to join and participate in Q&A, do join us, www.cratehackathon.com. Come join us in the Zoom so we can see your question or your hand raised right away, and we'll call you up and have you ask your question. We do ask for the best result in this, keeping this conversation so it looks good on the playback, that you have your cameras on and your mic is in a good state so that we can get you heard, especially for replays in the future. Feel free, take a moment. Again, at the very bottom, click on reactions, choose raise hand, and we will call you up so you can ask DJ Mike D, Mr. Gnarly Ray Jepsen himself, your question of the night.
I'm very proud of that nickname I made up, by the way.
And guys, if you aren't following him on Instagram and if you aren't getting his remixes on his Patreon, why not? What the heck? Gotta support. While we're waiting for questions, how did you approach doing the set over at Collective? Because I remember we talked about this in conversation, and that was truly open format for that.
There's actually two parts to that set because at Collective, I decided to skip dinner because I was like, you know what, I want to prep my crates and all that. And dinner ran long. So as people were trickling in, I called an audible and I was like, hey, I'm going to play. We're in Atlanta. Atlanta has a lot of hip hop, but also Atlanta has a lot of soul. So I decided to do a whole neo soul set in the beginning. Common, Raphael Sadiq, Music Soul Child, John B, that kind of stuff. And as people came in, and as it was, most people were there, I then decided to dig into the crate I was going to play at. And it was one of those, okay, well, where am I tempo-wise? Because my whole set, and that's a big thing about open format. You got to be able to change on a dime. If it's not working, you have to change. You cannot keep in the same thing. So that's where I decided, like I saw you, I saw Aaron, I saw Conflict, I saw a bunch of people, and I was like, okay, now I can shift gears. A bunch of people came in, and that's when I decided to dive more into my set.
Very true. And you didn't get all kitschy with it too, because that is the same rule I have. I think back, if the next song I play at open format, whatever the venue is, am I going to hear this on Radio Disney? That is one song I will not play. Granted, you'll probably get the quick yeah from maybe the teeny boppers in the corner, but it's probably not apropos for that venue. Hey, have you got an Aaron that raised his hand? Let's call you up. Have you unmute? Aaron.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
What's up?
I fall directly into this. I have a Saturday residency at an open format club here in San Diego. What are some of your suggestions on keeping a weekly set fresh without changing the set completely? Because people come there to hear a certain type of music, but you don't want the set to get stale.
Here's another question. Do you work for the club or do you work for a promoter?
The club.
Okay. So you as well as I do, if you work for a club, the most important thing is get people to drink. So what I would suggest is, say you're looking at one artist, look at other things around, like other things by them, but also other things. So something that has helped me DJ is when I hear music, songs have colors. Like Usher's Yeah is like a laser green. Turn Down for What is like a hot white. Biggie's One More Chance, the Stay With Me remix, that's like a sexy red. Goodies is like a sexy-ish, almost purple in between blue. So when you're programming, hey, this song is like this, but what can I substitute in its place to keep it fresh? And the other thing I've actually done in Hawaii, I was DJing 6 nights a week, and it's very easy to fall into I'm doing the same mix all the time. We're all guilty of it. Sometimes we go in our history and just look what we played. If you catch yourself doing that, one of the things you can do is look at your history, because open format, we play around the horn. We go 100 up to 130 down to 60. You know what? You want to look at that, look at your history and say, okay, I was at 100 here. Now go to a whole other part, especially if you're playing a long night. So you're playing 4-5 hours. Look at another part, look at another playlist and find that range and see how you can make that work. Because I understand the situation you're in. You need to keep the same vibe, but you don't want it to be the same.
I like that. Thanks, Aaron, for your question. All right. And then we have Steve with a question. Let's have you unmute and join us.
Hello. Hey, thank you.
Hey.
You hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, thanks for taking the question. So I have a car show coming in a couple weekends, and that'll be a 6-hour show. However, it's not a 6-hour continuous set. There'll be 2 MCs, so there's breaks in between. I've been playing this show since 2014. What would be your strategy as far as, I want to get this 2024 set, how to level that up from previous years, and give you some background of my previous years where I programmed my crates in the sense of saying, okay, going by genre and then BPM. And then the nice thing is when MCs need to get on the mic, make some announcements, then I can fade out, lower my volume, and then switch up either the genre or something like that. So how would you go about with that? Like, it's a 6-hour, it's a car show, and also they have a fashion show, and so the designers are inspired or designing their outfits based on the cars. So on my side, I'm trying to play music inspired by the car show and these cars that are from 1980 to present. So that's a nice thing too, is then I can start going, okay, go back to 1980 all the way to the present.
If there's, say, a section where there are cars from a certain time period, obviously the obvious answer there is to do music of that time. If you're doing sets, like say if it's 30 minutes and then say 20 minutes they're doing something in another 3-minute set over the course of 6 hours, I would say your best bet is, instead of trying to do because at a car, I've done hot import nights in Hawaii and all that stuff. Necessarily staying at your DJ booth the whole time. So I think my biggest suggestion to you is how you're saying you're putting together genres of sets. I would actually try and go away from that and try and see what crazy kind of songs you can do. Like one of my oldest ones I love to do is Ciara's 1-2 step into Hall & Oates Out of Touch, into CC Have You Ever Seen the Rain?
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake I Love You, and then you can go 120 from there. And the reason why I think that's understand the crowd as well. Like
Definitely.
You know, if it's SoCal, it's one thing. If it's New York, it's a different thing. Understand the crowd, but I think that will get people like, oh, I never thought that could go together, and that would, I think, elevate it as far as at least maybe some of your sets.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a lot of what you mentioned with this during this whole hour has definitely given me some insight into that. Stepping away from the genre and even stepping away from trying to play decade during this block. But yeah, that's what you're saying.
Everything has its time and place. Don't be afraid to try something different. We all going back 20 years, wow, AM was so great, but that's because he wasn't afraid to try something.
Yeah, gotcha. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, radio, I got
question,
some
Steve.
good news and I got some bad news. Bad news is I do have to roll. I got a prior engagement, but the good news is this is one of the things I wanted to share with the hackers tonight. Since we have such a great crowd tonight, I'm going to let this Zoom session stay open as long as radio allows it. So I'm giving you the keys, radio. If you want to have a Q&A and stay all night, I just got to roll. So y'all can have the hackathon to yourselves this evening.
Did you have a last question to bring up, Aaron? Because we're
just
we don't have any more
lot
hands.
of gratitude. Thank you again. It just occurred to me that we're moving into our 4th year of hosting these hackathons. So thank you for coming back. Thank you for making this your Tuesday routine. You're hanging out with, in my opinion, an absolute legend, DJ Mike D. Thanks for your time. Will you please come back? That's my only question.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you guys having me. Even though
No
you
doubt.
called me a legend means old, but
You can duck out anytime you, but if you want to hang with radio, the after party starts now. I'll see you all next Tuesday.
See you, Aaron.
Bye, guys.
All right, so let's bring this up. Yeah, well, it's great we'll have you back again, but I do want to bring you on Evolve because I want to be sensitive. I know I know a lot of the Ableton stuff flew over some of our viewers' heads, and yeah, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy for us to bite back because we appreciate it and we understand. Okay, there's that level, and maybe I bit back too hard, so I will confess up and say I was probably too hard on that, but we can do some more Ableton. If you guys want to watch that, we'll try to have a special Ableton session with Mike D in the future. We got Team Ragoza here and lurking in the background, so it's good to have them here. So if you're down for that, we'll definitely want to have you there too. We got a request.
you guys are really like hiding in the comments.
I'm sure they're laughing it up too. But we got a camera with a question. Let me unmute you. If you ask your question.
You hear me?
You hear me now?
I'm sorry, man. I'm driving, so I can't. I'm trying to be careful.
Be careful.
But I couldn't miss this session. I got a question. I got the good fortune here in Atlanta of DJ and NFL Players Association Super Bowl party next month. And I was wondering if Mike had ever done anything like that. And I'm sure, I think I heard him say he was here in Atlanta recently. So I'm assuming that you know the vibe here. What would you recommend in terms of a warm-up set? And of course, since it's a Super Bowl party, I'm only going to be playing music during commercials, and I don't know if they're going to want to watch the halftime show. I can't remember who's performing. But my point is, what tracks would you throw on during commercials or breaks that would, and then afterwards, once they have their after party, keep it hyped and whatnot, but at the same time, be able to have a nice set?
So I think the biggest question you need to ask yourself first is, who are you playing for? What's the demographic? I mean, if it's younger, it's one thing. If it's, say if they're 40 plus, it's another thing. And so the great thing about Atlanta, so I've done NFL parties in Hawaii. I did Pro Bowl for many years. There was like Warren Moon parties, and like they had Lil Wayne and Chris Brown and all them come out, and there was that whole thing. Also in Atlanta, I've played at Cheetahs. I've played some other spots out there. I was doing stuff with radio out there. So with that being said, Atlanta very much so welcomes hip hop. And I appreciate that because I grew up with Dr. Dre. 1990, I'm not going to say what year. Anyway, I grew up with Dr. Dre and getting busted for having the cassette, dating myself, having the cassette, copying it with a two. And so what I'm saying is I appreciate the vibe of Atlanta, but I think the biggest question you have to ask yourself is, do you know the demographic of who you're playing for?
Let me unmute him again because he had muted.
I don't know in terms of age group. I know that it's going to be mostly African American, but I don't know the age group. It may vary from like young folks in their 20s. Like I'm a seasoned DJ, so it might be young folks in their 20s or 30s, and then people 40 and up. I just don't know. I'm assuming a mixed crowd, and I'm preparing for that just to be on the safe side.
It sounds like you got what you sounds like you're going the right direction. As far as the like in between, like the commercials and stuff, because I know a lot of us, we do the football stuff. I'm in Cleveland, I'll be at a club and they'll be playing the game and they're like, hey, can you like come DJ in between? And like during the commercials, I'll be honest, during the commercials, I just play a song because the problem is the commercial breaks maybe 2.5 minutes. I look at it like this, is I don't want to waste a banger on a commercial. Yes, I'm going to play a good song, but say with hip hop, like I wouldn't play Gunna, Fuck You Mean during a commercial break. I would save that. Usher is performing during halftime, comments like lit up with that. So I would stay away from Usher until after the game, and maybe one or two before the game, and then after the game also play some, but I wouldn't play any during the game's commercial breaks because people are waiting for that. And I know it sounds weird, like you're not performing with them, but I think it would be good to have people have that vibe, like, oh yeah, Usher's gonna be performing. Younger crowd, like there's Gunna, there's all that kind of stuff, and an older crowd. Down in Atlanta, what was that song? Strafe. What's the name of that song? There's a whole dance to it, and this is what set it off. Set it off.
Set it off.
I would go everything from that, the Jazzy Faye era, because that was really big. I'll be honest, the kids now, they still will dance to goodies. They'll still dance to 1-2 step. They'll still dance to all of it. But also she has that, is it Move? I'm blanking on song names. So don't be afraid. Like it's weird. The past 10 years, I would say from 3 years ago and forward, we went through a 10-year period where you did not play any old songs. It was like taboo. It was like, oh, you're playing all this old music. These kids now, you play Michael Jackson, they're all for it. You play Whitney Houston, they're all for it. So I would say take a look at once you get there and you'll see the demographic. Honestly, it's the newer stuff that I would just concentrate on and have in my pocket. Lil Uzi Vert, like a lot of that Jersey Club stuff does well down there. You can't go wrong with 2 Chainz. It's Atlanta.
Okay, I got you. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your question. Stay safe, Kareem.
All right now.
All right. All right, man. So looks like we've down for questions. I want to make sure everyone saw that I posted Mike D's Instagram and his Patreon in the chat. Definitely show some support and love for our esteemed guest here. Any parting words you have for us, Mike?
Sorry, I don't look as good as the picture on the flyer.
I need that glam app. All right.
I just want to, honestly, parting words, the collective opened my eyes as to a lot of things, and any advice I can give people as either editors, remixers, or even DJs, I'm all for it because we have seen an influx of bad DJs, and I would like to do my best to try and make a lot of much better DJs.
So true. So true. DJ Ragosa says that's his mission, especially with Evolve DJs. He just wants to make good DJs so he can hear more good DJs. So definitely appreciate that sentiment. Thanks again. Much appreciation. Folks, we hope you enjoyed this. Once in the chat, if you enjoyed this time here with Mike D, we will have him back both here and at Evolve. And do make a note. You saw her earlier. DJ Pinky's going to join us next week. We loved her set. We can't wait till she comes up next week. I think she's probably side-eyeing her like now. Yeah, there you go. We're going to have her on next week. Stay tuned. Make sure you see those reminders. Sign up again for crateoftheweek.com. Make sure you add your 2 hits there. And if you need to access that crate when Aaron finalizes it at the end of the week, definitely make sure you can get a 7-day trial from us. Just ping one of us Crate hackers and we will send you that link and you get a 7-day trial from us and join the fam. All right. Until again, thanks again, Mike D. Thank you, Pinky. Thank you, Crate Hacker fam. It's good to see you. We hope to see you next week. Everyone, have a great evening.